It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions. Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Thursday? We do, you do. From the DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, heading towards a great sports weekend, we welcome you to our Thursday podcast. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host, the venerable John Riley. We welcome you to our Thursday podcast, Hacksaw's Headlines. Podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. You got projects, they've got materials, you want ideas, they can be your best friend, your consultant. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things that they have to offer. John Riley, good afternoon. You are lucky because some of the things you've said on this podcast have gotten you in hot water. I always joke about you being in left field. You are lucky I did not order you to do this podcast from left field today. It's 100 degrees in my driveway this afternoon. How can that be? It's almost November 1st. How can it be 100 degrees in San Diego? But it is. How you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, but this is fire season, man. This is when the Santa Anas are cooking. We just got to get through October, and hopefully we'll all be safe and sound.
And we got to get through the World Series because we're going to talk baseball, and then we're going to talk NFL football, and then we're going to talk college football, and we're going to go a lot of different directions on this podcast. We do sports talk the way it should be done. We put topics on the table. We express opinions, some of them valid, some of them from left field, and then we open it up for you. It's a thing called Fans Forum. Not many podcasts do this. You get to interact with us live. So how does Fans Forum work?
Okay, so, hey, if you got a question or comment in the world of sports for Hacksaw.
Or from the guy from left field.
Yeah, or from me. Okay, then just drop your take in the live chat on Facebook, on X, or on YouTube. We'll get you involved in Fans Forum.
Fans Forum chat box is open for business right now. Just write a question, make a comment, make a statement. Don't write a book. Don't send 10 of them to us because we can't get them all on the air. Clear, concise, right to the point. Cut through all the bull crap. Tell us what you think. Fans Forum chat box is open. As we progress through the course of the show, jump right in. You can help us grow this thing. You can't believe the number of views we get Mondays and Thursdays on live stream, but you can help us grow. Hit the follow button. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a 5-star ranking. It helps us a great deal. If you like sports, I invite you to check my website. I write on it every day of the week. It's leehacksawhamilton.com. Go to the best 15 minutes page. You won't believe the amount of information there is there. Go to my one man's opinion column because I have an opinion on everything every day. I write a column every day of the week. So check the website. Also on the website, you can get on our email list. We started this thing called Hacksaw's Insiders Group. You register right on the website. Just fill out the information. You will get, we send out 2 emails a day. Want you to share. Tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Subscribe. When you subscribe to the YouTube channel and the others, you will get the alerts every time we put additional videos up on the YouTube channel in addition to the podcast, and we do that quite often. Give us a thumbs up. Like I say, it helps us a great deal. You're on X, on social media, on Twitter. Once you're part of my Twitter all-star team, who'd ever thought I'd be so involved with social media? A guy that's got a Royal Manual typewriter in his garage. But I'm on social media. Just go to X, type in my name, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, hit the follow button. Then you can participate in Hacksaw's mini polls because every evening I put sports-related and sometimes political questions out on Hacksaw's mini polls. We got it covered. We're doing it really differently. Stop shaking your head. This is all your fault. You introduced me to this podcast.
Well, it's funny because I mean, you're like a big time sports journalist, but you know, you're also like a cartoon character to a degree.
Thank you. Okay.
You know, as far as like having the manual typewriter and everything else. And you know what's funny is someone on the YouTube comments over the weekend or a couple of days ago, they said, you know, I've been watching this show and I can't figure out who these 2 guys remind me of. He says, yeah, it was Mr. Peabody and his boy Sherman.
I would have said Abbott and Costello, but
yeah, that's a good one too.
Okay, we're going a lot of different directions, so get ready. Join us. Fans Forum chat box is open. Let's blow this thing up today because we're going a lot of different directions.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about the World Series. Man, going back to Canada.
This is hard to believe that we are at this point, this crossroads in the Dodger-Toronto Blue Jay World Series. From a Dodger perspective, the bats and the bullpen has failed them. From a Blue Jay perspective, we're playing ball. We have no fear. They are going nuts north of the border, as I call it, the O-Canada area. Let's talk about the Dodgers. They're now down 3-2. Let's start first of all with what we saw Monday night, John Riley. 18 innings of baseball, 6 hours, 39 minutes, ended at 12:14 a.m. I stayed up. I watched the whole thing. I nearly was passed out. I was so tired. And then I had to sit and had to write on my website at 12:14 in the morning once the World Series game was concluded. The highs, what we experienced at Dodger Stadium on Monday. The lows, what we have seen on Tuesday and Wednesday at Dodger Stadium, the implosion of the pitching staff. The highs, Vlad Guerrero, the dude, hitting .419 in postseason. Trey Usavage, who from Class A ball to the World Series in less than 3 months. Absolutely stunning. Best team that money can buy, the Dodgers, can't buy a base hit. Best team that the money can buy, pitching staff, the Blue Jays have now beaten Blake Snell twice and Ohtani once and beat up the bullpen at the same time. As for the Dodgers, they're hitting .201 now in this series against the Blue Jays. Toronto, free swingers, no fear, hitting .261 with 8 home runs. Dodgers are in such trouble, it's hard to believe. And is it possible that as the clock has ticked through this World Series, we may have to face the reality? The Dodgers have a very old baseball team. You know, the Dodgers have 6 of their everyday players that are 31 and older. Mookie Betts is in a 3-for-23 World Series slump. Max Muncy is 3-for-20. The young kid Pages got benched. He's hitting .115. Everything Tommy Edman is hitting 3-for-21. They're just not getting hardly any hits at all. And Wednesday night, when they had to have a win to take the lead before they went back to Canada, the top of the batting order, the big money guys, went a combined 1-for-16. Blake Snell, all of a sudden, can't get guys out. Does not look in his last 2 starts against the Jays like the Blake Snell who strong-armed them into postseason play. Blake Snell, last 2 starts, 11 2/3 innings, 10 runs, 14 hits, 7 walks, hit batsmen, 2 wild pitches. Blake Snell being Blake Snell like he was with the San Diego Padres. I mean, just staggering. And then he copped out in the clubhouse after the game on Wednesday saying they got lucky. Well, I don't know that they got lucky. He just didn't make a lot of pitches. And in terms of Ohtani, he has given us so many thrills. And for him, I don't know how he did it. After the 18-inning game on Monday, for him to go out there and pitch, and the first inning or 2, you could obviously see that he was operating on adrenaline. But by the time they got to the 5th and 6th inning, ball came up, he started to get hit, he was operating on fumes, and they had to go get him. Just absolutely amazing, the ups, the downs, this emotional roller coaster of what this World Series is. What has to change as they go into Skydome Rogers Center on Friday night in Game 6? Obviously, they need Yamamoto to come up with another stellar performance. I think the Dodger batting order has to get aggressive. I think they need to be swinging at first pitches rather than taking balls and getting behind in counts. You know, is Ohtani in the right spot in the batting order, leading off? Would he be better being down in the batting order at 3rd or 4th, because that'd be probably more guys on base and has that better ability to drive people home? Dodgers got to do something, because Toronto is playing with no fear, as you would say, house money. I mean, what they've done is amazing. They don't strike out. They put the ball in play. They're hitting for power regardless of where the game is being played. Fascinating to see. Yamamoto versus Gausman come Friday night. What a emotional roller coaster. I would have never projected it would have been like this, with the Jays going home with a 3-2 lead. Okay, that's all that I've got to say. You shut me up for the first time. John, go ahead.
That's hard to do.
Yes.
To shut you up.
Tell me what you think.
Isn't it just a terrible shame that the Dodgers couldn't win the World Series in Hollywood at Chavez Ravine with all the stars there? You know, it's just nothing ever goes the Dodgers' way anymore in the league. You know, so now they're flying back to Canada. Yeah, Yamamoto's hella good. I mean, he's the best pitcher on that staff. You know, even if the Dodgers win Game 6, I mean, you got to win a Game 7. I mean, that's a tough assignment. I don't know how it's going to go, but that kid that pitched last night, he had like 8 strikeouts out of 9 batters or something like that. I don't know what the final stat was.
He wound up with 12 Ks.
It's incredible. I mean, this guy was pitching in single-A ball at the beginning of the year. And to get all this way on the big stage just goes to show you that, you know, sometimes talent comes along that just makes you say, wow. You know, you say that with Ohtani when he's in his groove. You said it about that kid, you savage, you know, so what a neat story, you know. So they were going to go back to Toronto. I never would have picked the Blue Jays at the beginning of the year to be the team that was going to do it. But what's the story with is Springer going to come back, you think?
They think so, because he's been running, taking batting practice. Another 2 days off probably helps him with what appears to be a minor oblique injury, but you never know. Hard swing, he could injure it again. So they've been very cautious, not throwing him out there. Didn't need him at this point in time, but I would assume he probably is a DH come Friday night.
Yeah, I think so. But, you know, Schneider, the guy who's been taking his place, he had that one bomb to lead off the game. He kind of looks like a younger version of you.
Thank you.
You know, athletic with the glasses, the bushy mustache, the whole look.
Is Ohtani in the wrong spot in the batting order? I mean, is that a solution to this malaise? They're hitting 201. A $383 million payroll is hitting 201 in the World Series.
Yeah, I always think that's overrated, you know, trying to change the lineup, to change the chemistry. I mean, you just got to get the guys going. I mean, that's a clubhouse thing. That's a pregame thing, mindset thing. But, you know, obviously you'd want Ohtani to be at the top of the order so he has more at-bats. And often that bottom third of the Dodgers hitting is usually pretty damn good.
Not right now.
But not now. You know, so that always kind of put Ohtani always had guys on base. Oh, by the way, did you see Kike Hernandez hit another home run?
Yes, Mr. October.
That guy is unbelievable. I mean, but that was, I think, the only run they had for the whole game. Yeah, so we're, you know, it's going to be on Halloween, isn't it?
Yeah, Friday night.
Yeah, here we go.
Trick or treat. You're a Dodger fan. You're a Toronto fan. Anybody from the old Canada Network with us? Jump on board. They're going crazy. By the way, TV ratings. Listen to this. So the 18-inning game on Monday night, between the U.S. TV viewership and the Canadian viewership, 17.6 million watched that game.
That's a lot.
And I had friends in Toronto that texted me at 3:14 a.m. Toronto Maple Leaf time. Said, God, what a hell of a game that was, even if we lost. They were still watching it in Canada.
I don't know how in the hell you stayed up that late.
Well, that was 12:14 a.m. West Coast time.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, I'm just speaking for myself. I made it to like the 17th inning. And then I just had to go lay down and like listen on the radio. And I missed the home run by Freeman in the bottom of the 18th. I just couldn't stay awake.
I was fried.
Yeah, but imagine if you're like a kid, you're seeing, you know, a kid in Toronto, your favorite team's in the World Series, and it's freaking 3 a.m. East Coast time. I mean, it's just been miserable.
You're living on adrenaline at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Rooting for your team. Now, so U.S. Canada, 17.6 million for Monday's game. You add in what happened in Japan. Now, Japan's not the middle of the night. Japan, that's like 11 a.m. or 12 noon Japanese time.
Yeah.
The combined TV audiences for that 18-inning game was 30.6 million. Just amazing.
Okay, now this is interesting because we've often compared them to Super Bowls because those are always the biggest. Mm-hmm. But aren't those like around 50 or 60 million?
Yeah.
Is that worldwide or just America?
That's all things encompassing NFL football, which could be North America, Mexico,
okay,
Southern America.
So that means that the World Series is getting closer to the Super Bowl.
Well, that's because of the Pacific Rim greatness of Otani and Sasaki and Yamamoto. I swear there's nobody in Japan or China, Korea, or Taiwan that pays much attention to the NFL.
Well, yeah. But, all the sports are going global, though.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay, so that's where we are. You got a comment on the Dodgers, comment on the Blue Jays, comment on the World Series. We invite you to join us early. The Fans Forum chat box is open for business. No excuses for you not to have an opinion about what you've seen. We go from that topic up there to the topic still under conversation here. We're talking Padre baseball.
Yeah, are these guys going to finally make a decision?
Yep. I think there's actually 2 sets of decisions have to be made pretty soon. I would think as soon as this World Series is over, the Padres will have made a decision on the manager. The final 3 are Pujols, who's now had 2 extended interviews. I was told first interview was 5 hours, second interview was 9.5. So he's had 2 interviews. Nick Hundley's had 2 interviews, as has the third candidate, Ruben Niebla, the in-house pitching coach. So tough call. Who do you go get? Do you go get Pujols, legendary icon, great ball player, held with tremendous respect because of his, quote, knowledge of the game, even though he's hardly managed at all? And I don't happen to think managing for 2 months in the Winter League's got anything comparable to being a major league manager. Do you do it with Pujols? Do you do it to stay in-house with Niebla, who knows everything about the culture and is the glue to the pitching staff? Or do you do it with Nick Hundley, who served in so many diverse roles, college-educated academia guy, and then surround him with veteran coaches? What do you think they should do there?
There's no bad choice in that list, right? And your instinct is to go with the icon because that's what they need is a leader. But, Niebla is a smart dude, and Niebla can make those moves, and we've heard all these great things about Hundley. So I don't think there's a bad choice there, but my instinct says go for Pujols.
Okay.
That's where they should start.
The other big decisions that are coming very quickly, because once you get through the World Series, the off-season business of baseball kicks in. That's free agency, that's opt-outs, and that's qualifying offers. Follow me on this. So we know the Padres have an enormous number of marquee names who can opt out or become free agents. We're right in the middle of November. There's a date on the calendar that says qualifying offer. You can offer your free agents a qualifying offer that guarantees they either stay with you, or if they elect to turn it down and leave, you're going to get draft pick compensation. Mm-hmm. However, the qualifying offer is $22 million per player.
It's a gamble.
Would you offer Cease $22 million on a 1-year deal? Would you offer King $22 million? Would you offer Robert Suarez once he opts out $22 million? Would you offer Arise $22 million? Now that's a boatload of money. I don't know that any of those guys would accept it because these guys are all after the multi-year contract, bigger payday. But if you don't offer, they walk out the door. You get no draft pick compensation. If you offer these guys the Q offer, even if they rejected it, then you're going to get draft pick compensation as a way to restock farm system. Those draft picks are after the second and third rounds of the draft. So what do you think the Padres do with those guys? I mean, that's $88 million worth of qualifying offers you could make. A bit of a gamble if any of them accept it, but maybe it's not a gamble because everybody wants a multi-year contract. Then you'd get draft pick compensation. What do you think AJ Preller should do?
Okay, well, let's eliminate the easy ones. I mean, Arise and Suarez, ain't no way. Because even if they got their ideal multi-year package, given their talent level and skill, it would still be less than 22 a year. I mean, Arise maybe 3 years at 15 for $45 million, he might get in the open market.
$45 million is better than 1 year at 22 and hope I don't get hurt.
Yeah, that's a different gamble, right? There's all these different layers. Bottom line is I would consider giving it to King. I'm on the border with Cease, but probably no. And Arise and Suarez, definitely not.
But Suarez had 40 saves. There's legitimacy to what he's accomplished.
But you can replace him very easily with someone that is worth way less than $22 million.
Yeah, but if Suarez is of the opinion, I'm worth more in the open market. Thank you. No, I'm not taking the Q offer. At least you're going to draft pick compensation if the guys reject you.
Yeah, well, if Suarez says, I don't want the qualifying offer, then he's free to stay for another year. Doesn't he have an opt-out like every year in a 4-year deal?
Yeah, but he's going to opt out. The minute he opts out, he's a free agent. Then he's eligible for a Q offer, or he's eligible to walk out the door.
Right. And so I think the Padres are going to say, I can replace him more easily for less than $22 million. And Suarez is going to say, is he going to opt out? He's probably going to think he's going to opt out because he wants to make more money. And the minute he opts out, he's walking away from a potential guarantee. Because what is he getting paid? Like about $10 million a year, right? So I could see Suarez taking his chances in the free agent market. Now, Rise is a clean free agent, right? There's no like options or anything. Yeah, Rise, I think we like him. He's a good guy. But, his value is very, very debatable.
He's topped. He's 14 million singles hitter.
Yeah, and he's declining, really, from the peak of what a Rise can be.
Okay, so you think let them walk if they want to walk. But you let them walk, you're not getting any compensation for them at all. If you offer the Q and they turn it down and leave, you're getting draft pick compensation every one of those guys.
But they offered the qualifying offer to Blake Snell. Right? Didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah, because they knew that, there was a very good chance he was going to leave and make more than that qualifying offer. And therefore they would get something back. But, if you say, I'm going to extend a qualifying offer to a Rise is going to say, hell yeah, I'll take that, because it's a bird in the hand versus two in the bush. They don't know what they're going to get when they go out on the free agent market. They could be one of those guys that hangs around until the very end of free agency. Like, who were some of those guys that we saw that did that? Like, Tommy Pham or something, that are always like hanging around at the end. No one wants to be that guy.
Yeah, but those guys don't get big money contracts.
Yeah, but see, their value is questionable. Even Suarez, as great as he is, he can look awfully, he has weaknesses. Let's put it that way.
He had 40 saves, brother.
Yeah, I know.
Don't degrade him.
Yeah, I know. I'm not degrading him. I'm just saying he's not, he's not like the best closer in baseball right now. I mean, we got Mason Miller, for Christ's sake. I mean, so.
Passionate Padre fan.
Yeah.
Opinions from left field. Okay, fans forum chat box is open. Which manager do you want? Jump in board. Give us an opinion. Second question, you making a Q offer to any of those 4 free agents that we just talked about. A lot of baseball to talk about, including what's gone on in Orange County. Wow.
And this is like Peyton Place. I want to hear the latest dirt.
Okay, we have now gone through a full week of testimony in the Tyler Skaggs drug trial. The last day and a half was all about finger pointing, credibility, or maybe tainted testimony. The Tyler Skaggs story, OD'd on pills given to him by the public relations director who was a drug addict himself, Eric Kay. Last 2 days, his ex-wife, Kamala Kay, was on the stand. And they shot a lot of holes in her testimony, and she got into it with lawyers from both sides. Kamala Kay is of the opinion the Angels failed her husband, Eric, who was a drug addict. The lawyers then asked the question, how can you say they failed? They helped him get into psychiatric help. They helped him get into rehab. And her response was, and you put him back on the job 6 weeks after he spent all this time in rehab, and he went on a road trip and got more pills, and Tyler Skaggs died. Kamala Kay said 2 Angel VPs came to visit them after they tried an intervention with her husband. The intervention failed. One of the Angel VPs found drugs in the bedroom. The Angel VP said that never happened. Conflicting testimony there. She also said they found pills in the car that were directed towards Tyler Skaggs. Nobody has had any comment about that. She testified she was on road trips on the team plane, and she saw Angel players drinking heavily and exchanging what she said were painkillers at the back of the plane. The lawyer shot holes in that by saying, where were you on the plane? Well, I sat in the first 10 rows. Where were the players in the back of the plane? How could you tell they were dealing Percocet and oxycodone? Well, I just assumed. Blowing holes in things that Kamala Kay was saying.
They were Tic Tacs.
Yeah. There were text messages that they found on Eric Kay's phone from Tyler Skaggs talking about delivery of candy. Kamala Kay said that was obviously delivery of opioids. She asked the question, why would you send this employee who had been in rehab right back out on the road to do his job? And nobody had an answer to that one. They also found marijuana vape pens in Eric Kay's dresser drawers, stuff that he may have been selling to Angel players. A doctor reported after Eric Kay had appeared to be a medical setback and was hospitalized that Eric Kay had 6 different types of opioids in his system when he was hospitalized. I mean, this guy was a hardcore addicted addict. But there was also testimony that she also made a statement, which I found hard to believe. She said that her opinion was that Tyler Skaggs always blamed somebody else for all of his problems. His arm broke down, he got sick, he was hurt, and he did drugs. It was always somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
But she ended up the testimony by looking directly at the Angel table of lawyers. You have to understand, my husband is in prison and Mrs. Skaggs is a widow because you let Eric Kay continue to work and he was a drug addict. I mean, I told you weeks ago this was going to be dark, this was going to be angry, etc. So that's the latest. Back on trial on Monday, and I believe we're going to see other Angel players and Arizona Diamondback players will be the next group of people who are going to be brought in here. So, John, over the last couple of weeks, couple of shows, I've tried to walk you through each of the segments of the testimony. What do you think?
You know, this is like a reflection of American society in many ways, where personal responsibility is sort of pushed aside and we look for someone else to point the finger. Who's got the deep pockets? You know, I can sense some of that. I mean, were the Angels part of the equation that led to Tyler Skaggs' death? Sure. You know, it's obvious, but it's not the primary. I mean, the primary is that Skaggs is a drug addict. And you even said, you know, he doesn't take responsibility because it's always someone else's fault. So the primary is Skaggs. And he sadly, you know, paid the ultimate price for his addiction. And it's a tragedy for the wife and the family and everything else. Kay was dealing. Okay. But if Kay wasn't there, Skaggs would probably have gotten it from somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Now, does that mean because Kay was dealing that Artie Moreno knew? And Artie Moreno was like, yeah, man, you know, deliver that stuff to Skaggs. You know, that wasn't happening. Nope. So Moreno is just the deep pockets, and he's the guy that everyone's trying to take a pound of flesh from him on this whole thing. So I can see how the families are emotional and they want to blame the Angels and we deserve. I mean, there's no way in heck it's, what is it, $789 million? I mean, that's just a silly number. So I'm inclined to show sympathy to the Skaggs family. Perhaps there is some compensation to kind of make everyone feel good, but it shouldn't be something just so punitive that, you know, it just seems like, you often say, money grab. That's what this feels like.
And the Angels had already given the Skaggs family the rest of Skaggs' contract, even though he was dead. He had 3 more years to go on his deal, and they gave it to Kamala Kay. Not to Kamala Kay, to the Skaggs.
Well, that's a gesture of goodwill and good faith on Artie Moreno, because, I mean, I'm sure to the letter of the law, he didn't have to pay that, but he did. So, I mean, you know, who's the bad guy here? You know, everyone's trying to, I mean, in the end, this is about how much money can they extract out of Artie Moreno and the value of his Angels asset.
Can you imagine being on the jury and having to walk this line and figure out guilt?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a question of, you know, who done it, you know, like who killed the you know, Skaggs. It's more of like, how do you assign blame, you know, and it's extraordinarily subjective. And like I said, there are societal influences here, you know, the bad guy is the rich guy, you know, or, you know, not little old me. I didn't know. And I had no power, and therefore I'm not responsible for myself. You know, there's a lot of that going on here.
Amazing story. You have an opinion. We have a lot of followers in Orange County. We've tried to walk you through every segment of the testimony. As I said, dark and angry. That's what this is all about. We go from all things baseball. We're going to college football next. Wow, in a 24-hour span. That's all I can say about what just happened in college football. Here, UCLA, there, LSU.
Yeah, the revolt against the athletic directors.
Yeah, let's just talk about what just happened. This cauldron of controversy at UCLA. 63 former legendary UCLA players have signed a letter given to the chancellor, Julio Fink, demanding the firing of the athletic director, Martin Jarman, for his failure in all the hirings, starting with Chip Kelly through to Sean Foster, the fact they've accumulated $216 million in debt, the decisions made to destroy the Pac-12 conference to go to the Big Ten where they can't compete. The ringleader of this whole thing is Troy Aikman. These people are very influential. All UCLA football alums, most of whom have played in the National Football League. Second story is at LSU. We talked last week about the firing of Brian Kelly, the utter failure. It has been one legal cheap shot after another since Kelly cleaned out his desk and left on Sunday night. Columnists in New Orleans and in Baton Rouge started calling Brian Kelly a caustic carpetbagger, that he was phony. He tried to portray himself as a good old boy, you know? Y'all having a good time? Guy who came from South Bend at Notre Dame. And obviously they were really enraged at his treatment of players. Some of the families have reacted, etc. Very ugly story. The governor has taken control of all this at Louisiana State. He's the one that brought the Brian Kelly thing to a head. And now the governor is overseeing the formation of a search committee that will exclude the athletic director. And he went public yesterday and said, I do not want Scott Woodward to have any input. Scott Woodward is the one that hired Brian Kelly, gave him a 10-year contract, owes him $54 million. And by the way, Scott Woodward is also the one, before that was at Texas A&M, that gave Jimbo Fisher a contract that had a $93 million buyout, saying Scott Woodward should not be making decisions any longer at LSU. So we got this uproar at UCLA, the fallout at LSU, which most people think is one of the really elite jobs in college football, that there are going to be changes in terms of who's making the decision. What do you think about what's gone on at UCLA and the latest fallout at LSU?
Well, the LSU story, it just reminds me of, like, remember the movie Waterboy?
Yeah.
You know, it was like a Louisiana college football team. And here you got the governor coming in and saying, we're going to find the new coach. That athletic director can't do it. You know, it's just, talking about good old boys and talking about a governor that understands the importance of football in the society of Louisiana and how important this is. I mean, it's almost like, like a Dukes of Hazzard episode or something. So this is funny. I mean, to me, but normally let's set aside the fact that these were monster contracts to Brian Kelly and Jimbo Fisher. Most people don't get fired for hiring Brian Kelly and Jimbo Fisher in those situations. It's just that they both bombed. The contracts were too insane. I mean, it's all these guaranteed deals that are so crushing. And people have very little patience, for coaches. When their program ain't winning, all those boosters are calling.
Yep.
And they're like, hey, get the governor on this. Otherwise, we're going to vote him out of office. And I'm sure that's a lot of that going on. And then the whole UCLA thing, I mean, Jarman's been under fire for a while now. And we've been hearing this chirping about, Troy Aikman and all the old Bruin alumni. I don't know, but it felt like Tim Skipper got the ship righted, but they're still down on it, right? Maybe.
Well, but they got their doors blown off at Indiana. So it's the same old, same old. Yeah. Did they upset Penn State? That was a shocker of all time. But at the end of the day, next game up, they got creamed.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. But I'm just saying, when they were 0-3, it was disaster city.
Yeah.
Okay, now they're sort of getting their head back to sort of even water level.
We'll see where this one goes. Okay, you got an opinion? UCLA, LSU, jump on board. Fans Forum chat box is open. We go from that to college football Saturday. Interesting weekend ahead of us.
Yeah, we do. And we got the Aztecs at the top of the list here.
We got San Diego State, Wyoming. Aztecs have many more athletes than Wyoming does, but Wyoming's, it's like going to a bar fight with them. They just play such a different style of football. This may not be easy, but the Aztecs, I think, have just way too much defense for Wyoming. And I think San Diego State is playing power ball, running the ball with Lucky Sutton. So the Aztecs should win this, which would then put them in a great situation at 7-1, because a week from now, we're going to be talking about Boise State coming in here to play. But boy, the Aztecs have done well. Defense, continuity, babe. Field goal kicker, Gabe Placentia is one of the best in the country that nobody knows about. The hefty lefty. That's how they're what they're starting to call
Thicker
him.
the kicker.
Yeah. So it's absolutely amazing. We go from that. Air Force plays Army. This is a really unique game. Air Force has a phenomenal quarterback. His name is Leon Zerka. The kid's got almost 1,800 yards running and throwing in half a season. He's accounted for 17 touchdowns, and this will be a battle of option quarterbacks. Air Force is averaging 472 yards per game. Now, they're perennially always overscheduled, so their one-loss record doesn't look sexy, but they do a great job up there. So Air Force Army is really going to be fun. Boise-Fresno State. Survivor will play for first place. The loser is going to be in big trouble. But Boise is Maddox Madsen, Dylan Riley, the running back. They're playing some really good football right now. And Fresno is going for the second week in a row with a young quarterback who started his first Division I game just last week. And I thought against San Diego State's great defense, I really thought Conklin held in there. So that's going to be an interesting game to watch. The game on my schedule, Southern Cal at Nebraska. Now, this is a Trojans team putting up big yardage, big points, but it's also a Trojan team that got smoked at the University of Illinois when they went on the road. Now they're going into Lincoln. You think that's going to be hostile? But Southern Cal's got a great quarterback. I mean, Jaden Mayava, 2,180 yards passing, and he's got 13 touchdowns this season, and he hardly turns the ball over. So Mayava, second-year starter at SC, doing very well. He's going to be opposed by sophomore Dylan Raiola, Nebraska quarterback that they stole from the University of Georgia. This kid's got 17 touchdown passes. And obviously got two wild play callers in Lincoln Riley and Matt Rule. So I think SC Nebraska is really going to be fun. And then the other intriguing game on Saturday, how good is Vanderbilt?
Oh, that's crazy.
Vanderbilt is ranked 10th in the country. Vanderbilt, the Commodores, are ranked 10th in the country. So they have their young quarterback, Diego Pava, against Texas. And Arch Manning, we believe, is going to play. He's had some minor concussion problems, and Manning's gotten progressively better. Steve Sarkisian indicated as of Thursday that Manning was taking snaps and probably would play. I would never, in my wildest dreams my whole life, doing this, would have ever thought I'd say, Vanderbilt could beat Texas? You're kidding me? But this year,
yeah,
with the Commodores, real deal. So interesting games to pay attention to.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about the Aztecs for a minute. I mean, hopefully this isn't a trap game, right? I mean, that's kind of set up that way. Now, is this game at home?
Yep.
Okay. And, by the way, when we remember a number of episodes, we talked about between the hedges, in Georgia, and I've seen that in other stadiums. I'm starting to pay attention to that now. But I know that when they play on the road in Wyoming, they've got like pine trees.
Yes, like everywhere.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool. You feel like you're out in the mountains.
War Memorial Stadium, Laramie.
Yeah, that's some brutal conditions out there. Your old colleague, Ted Leitner, used to always bitch and moan about going to Laramie.
I love going to Laramie. I love Wyoming. I love the open space, and it's beautiful campus. The stadium's it's really kind of cool. Don't want to be there in November. It is really cold.
Well, it's windy too, isn't it?
Yeah, the wind blows off the prairies like you wouldn't believe.
So, anyways, I'm following the Aztecs. I want to talk a little bit about this whole thing where the previous two home games, they gave away all these free tickets and they kind of filled up Snapdragon. I think they had about 2/3 full, maybe. But are they good? I know they're not giving away tickets for the Boise game. People are complaining about the pricing. What's happening in the Wyoming game? Are they giving away tickets?
No giveaways. They have a lot of unsold tickets. Our friend's going to respond. This thing is 6-1. Sean Lewis has got this thing rolling. Now people are really upset about Boise. The lowest buy-in ticket at Boise, that's top seat in the sun, $62. Other seats are $81 to $120. People are saying, I'm not paying that to see them play a Mountain West Conference game. It's ridiculous.
Oh, but if you were the beneficiary of the free tickets for 1 or 2 weeks and you support this program, you should still go out there and spend $60. It's because it's showing your support of what you claim to love and want to have thrive in San Diego. So I'm hoping the fans show up, and if they keep winning, Aztec basketball has proven they'll show up. And even to your point, when Aztecs, Marshall Faulk era, man, they filled up Qualcomm when you were announcing.
Yeah, but they were not charging $210 to sit at the 50-yard line.
No, but when they're good, they'll come.
And they weren't charging $40 to park in the gravel lot. This whole thing's a money grab. This whole thing has been such a catastrophic financial mistake.
First of all, prices have gone up everywhere. I mean, you go to a ball game at SC or UCLA or wherever, you're going to be spending that kind of money. So it's challenging when they start giving it away. They kind of devalue what the ticket is really worth in the minds of people's, what people think. So they're going to have to build up to this. But by the way, I went to some games when I was in Oklahoma, and you can rent space like for your 10 by 10 tent, like on the grass lawn, like right near the stadium boundaries. And they're making like bank, thousands of dollars.
That's Oklahoma. They tried that here.
Well, they're not going to be able to get it here. But my point is that it's cheaper here than it is at some of these other stadiums.
But if John Riley had enough friends to throw a tent party in the parking lot, it's $1,020 to rent that space.
Yeah.
Who's going to do that?
Well, that people are going to tailgate in other ways, But there's a lot of really cool corporate guys that go out there and kind of set up a zone, where they're serving drinks. They got some places to sit, maybe some live music. There's some pretty cool stuff going on to the Aztec tailgates.
Okay, that's where we are. College football, interesting weekend ahead of us. You like this USC-Nebraska shootout? I mean, they're walking into a real tough game.
Well, Nebraska isn't Nebraska, is it?
No, but that quarterback is pretty good.
Okay.
And Matt Rule's a bit of a madman play calling, and Lincoln Riley's kind of wild with his play calls, and Maava has turned out to be a really good big-time quarterback.
It's just still, I mean, you still think of Nebraska as a Big 12 team. It's still weird that they're in the Big 10.
I agree.
So it'll be a fun game to watch. I mean, SC is, the team that has the best chance in, is SC ranked anymore? I don't think they still are. Right?
They're, I think, in the 23rd, maybe.
23rd. Okay. So I'm just thinking in Southern California, they're definitely the highest ranked team. So you kind of hope they do okay, but I don't know. My expectation is that SC should be able to beat Nebraska.
Shootout. I think it's going to be fun. Okay, you got an opinion? Aztec fan, if you're going to give these guys a chance, or you're just offended by the prices, jump on board. We'll talk about that. Any of those other games pique your interest. We go from that. Busy week of stories around the National Football League before we get to halftime on our Thursday podcast, John.
Sunday statement games.
Kansas City, Buffalo. Can you say last guy touches the football wins? This is going to be a great game. I mean, the Chiefs are rocking and rolling. They have everybody healthy. All the wide receivers. Patrick Mahomes has just become dazzling in the last 3 weeks since he got all of his guys back. Mahomes has thrown for 2,100 yards. He's got 17 touchdowns on the season. These guys are averaging 378 yards per game on offense now that they got Rashee Rice back and everybody else. Josh Allen, he's got 17 touchdowns on the season. His offense is 382 yards per game. I don't know if either one of the defenses are going to be able to stop the other guy. Like the host said, last guy touches the ball probably wins it. Kansas City versus Buffalo. That's going to be good.
I told you so in advance.
Thank you. Colts, Pittsburgh. Now, this is really a game to find out if Indy is the real deal. Because they're going into Pittsburgh. The Steelers are pissed off. They're playing so poorly on defense. You got, obviously, Aaron Rodgers that's making enough plays to keep him in games. And you got Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones with a quarterback rating of 109, 13 touchdowns on the season. Jonathan Taylor has almost 900 yards rushing. He's averaging almost 6 yards per carry. Colts are averaging 385 yards per game. Pittsburgh's defense has been deplorable. I don't have anybody to defend the pass, but they're tough and they're physical and they go get the quarterback, especially at home games. This will be a monster credibility check, I think, for the Indianapolis Colts, but they're 7-1 on the season. Colts, Pittsburgh. Denver, Houston. Bo Nix has got these guys on a roll. Denver's defense is just superb. 36 quarterback sacks on the season. They're giving up just 281 yards per game. Bo Nix and an offense it's averaging 356 yards per game. That's pretty impressive. They've gotten progressively better and better as the season's gone on, but Houston's defense is amazing. We're coming to get you, Bo. What are you going to do about it? Will Anderson and those guys have got 16 sacks, and they're holding the opponents to 266 yards per game. So Denver, Houston, that's going to be a fun game to watch. Other storylines, Minnesota, Carson Wentz, done for the year. But he stood up in the locker room yesterday and he told the media, you report this. I played injured because I was told I could play injured by the team doctor and I wanted to play. Had nothing to do with Kevin O'Connell. Don't blame him for the severity of the shoulder dislocation and the torn labrum I have. Doctors had told him you can't injure it further. It'd just be painful. If you want to play, go out and play. So he cleared Kevin O'Connell of any wrong decision there. But at the end of the day, Wentz was just miserable. Too many turnovers, holding the football too long, too many quarterback sacks. New Orleans, seen enough of Spencer Rattler. 1-7 as a starter this year. They just could not score touchdowns. 1-13 in 2 years as a starter in the NFL. He sits, a high draft pick, Tyler Shock out of Louisville, will make his start. And Shock played pretty well in preseason, and he has just practiced the regimen every week of the year. Tyler Shock is going to be the starting quarterback for the rest of the season for the New Orleans Saints. In Miami, if you're a Dolphin fan, wearing their colors, which is better than whatever the hell you're wearing right now, would you boo Mike McDaniels? They are going crazy. Tua Tagovailoa has played so poorly. And he didn't have a lot around him. There was no Tyreek Hill. He's had so many injuries. But they're blaming Mike McDaniels because Mike McDaniels is the one that stood at the draft board and said, we are picking Tua out of Alabama to be our quarterback. On the board, he was the next pick taken, was Justin Herbert out of Oregon. Mike McDaniels bypassed Justin Herbert for an undersized quarterback that's had a lot of injuries, is concussion prone, has turned it over 11 times this season. And here's a stat. In his career at Miami, Tua, against teams with winning records, is 6-20. Mike McDaniels has just taken so much heat. And the quarterback he could have had is with the Chargers and setting all these numbers ablaze.
Yeah, neither team's winning a Super Bowl.
At this point, no. And the last topic, you know how coaches tell players, play under control, play with emotion, but play under control. Don't take a penalty flag. Well, the New York Giants and Brian Daboll just got hit with $315,000 in fines because that coach who preaches play under control is the one that stormed into the blue tent when Jackson Dart was taken by the team doctors into the tent for a concussion protocol exam. And Brian Daboll tried to get in there and, quote, find out or influence or intimidate. And then he got involved in a fierce argument with the Giants team doctor. And this is a coach who preaches play under control. A madman, an idiot. $315,000 in fines from the NFL to Brian Daboll and the New York Football Giants. So, John, that's my NFL notebook for today. Go in the direction you want.
I mean, those are all great games at the top of the list, you know. I mean, looking forward to those. You know, Bills Chiefs is always entertaining. The Colts are a surprise team. Bo Nix is doing great. Houston's looking a little better. But it's the other four teams that I think are the interesting storylines. I mean, Brian Daboll, I remember when that happened, and he was like, oh, my God, we finally have the golden boy quarterback in Jackson Dart that's so much better than anything we've had here. And he's hurt, you know, oh, my God. You know, so I can see how he just thought the golden egg was going to be gone. And so he was in there meddling. And obviously that's wrong. But I can understand the emotion behind it. You know, you're talking about Mike McDaniel. Okay, I remember I'm getting all the Mike McDaniels and McDonald's and everything else mixed up. he sets himself up to be a target, just kind of the way he presents himself at press conferences and everything. He doesn't look like he's always as serious as he should be. So when things go down, he becomes an easy target. But he's not the GM.
No, but he's the one that had influence because he's an offensive guru.
Yeah. Well, I guess not so guru-ish as we thought. I think the Tyler Shuck, is it Shuck? Is that how you say it? Is it S-O-U-G-H? S-H-O-U-G-H. Oh, but it's called Shuck. Shuck.
Yep.
All right. So Spencer Rattler, I saw him at Oklahoma, and then Caleb Williams displaced him, and he was in that QB1 show that everyone thought he had the potential to be great. But when you see him play it for the Saints, he looks like
a little bit overwhelmed.
Yeah.
A 1-13 career record as a starter.
Yeah. and then Carson Wentz. I remember like in the game, he was on the bench and he was just like, not weeping, but he had this emotional expression on his face.
He had pain.
And see, I thought at first he was like, oh my God, I can't believe all this happened and how horrible we're playing. But he was probably in physical pain too.
Yep.
And so that gives me a little more insight to what I was witnessing.
Okay, that's all things NFL. Feel free. Jump on board. You got an opinion on some of the storylines that we present because we do sports talk the way it should be done. We are at halftime. This podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. I want to talk about windows and I want to talk about doors because do you know, when I got my car to come to the castle here, John's studio, it was 100 degrees in my driveway, which freaks me out. It shouldn't be 100 degrees the 1st of November. Not in my house. My house is 78 without the air conditioning on. My house is 78 because of the doors and the windows that I put in about 5 years ago from DIXIELINE Lumber.
Hell yeah. I mean, they do make a big difference. I mean, because like, think about it, like when you have old doors, or old windows that don't really open, they're all jammed up, and rusted out, and even doors can be kind of hollow and not really insulating, not just the temperature, but also insulating the sound. So when you get new doors and windows in a house, it just makes everything feel so much better inside.
Looks pretty damn good too.
And it looks good. Yeah, it's a curb appeal. And you have to, just due to the elements, you have to upgrade your doors and windows every, 10 years or so.
So when that time comes, times for doors, times for windows, go to DIXIELINE.com and just see what they've got to offer. DIXIELINE, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego, plus the new one up in Dana Point. We are at halftime. This podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. And again, when we're done putting topics on the table, my opinions and his from left field, we open it up for you. It's called Fans Forum. And again, John, for people who are new to the live stream, and we get the numbers we're knocking down that are watching us on live stream and then watching it after it's up on YouTube, just explain to the people on live stream how they can be part of this with Fans Forum.
Yeah, you can be a part of it, so just go in the live chat on YouTube, on X, on Facebook, and drop your take, your question for Hacksaw. We'll get you involved. I see a lot of our good friends that are here every week, and I love you guys, but I like to see more new guys. There's a few newbies in the list this weekly. So
Rookie of the Year candidates.
Yeah, we need some more fresh blood in there, but we'll get to everybody as best we can.
Have it taken, don't suck. Okay, just a couple of other reminders. You like sports? I write about sports every day. Please check my website. You won't believe the amount of information that it's there. I post it every night. It's there first thing every morning. Just go to leehacksawhamilton.com. Want you to get on my email list. You can do that by joining Hacksaw's Insiders Group. Right there on the homepage of the website, this big orange box, fill it out. You'll get 2 emails a day from us with all kinds of data as part of being part of Hacksaw's Insiders Group. Share, tell everybody what we do Mondays at 1:30 and Thursdays at 1:30. Subscribe. When you subscribe on the YouTube channel, you will get the alert every time we put additional videos up on the YouTube channel, and that could be 5 to 7 to 10 different videos a week in addition to the podcast, so you'll get the alerts there. Watch on social media. Follow me. Just go to X, type in my name, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. Hit the follow button. Then you can participate in Hacksaw's mini polls because I ask a lot of really pointed sports questions on the mini polls. Stop laughing.
No, they're good polls. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, a lot of people get fired up about that.
Yeah, they do.
Not everybody agrees with me, but that's okay. But listen, we want you part of everything we're doing on social media. John, let's march into the second half because we got other topics, other sports to talk about.
Yeah, the Lakers are big. Oh, well, we got the Trailblazers. That's right. The breaking news. You had me add this at the last minute.
Yeah, late breaking story. We know about the FBI investigation, the arrest of Chauncey Billups, the arrest of 2 other former NBA players. And I had projected a week ago that I didn't understand how Chauncey Billups would get involved with this. Was he an innocent bystander, got suckered into a poker game that was rigged, and the other people at the poker table were mob members, and it wound up costing a man $1.8 million in lost bets at a rigged poker game. Now we find out the additional information that comes from the FBI report involving Chauncey Billups is that he made close friendships with leaders of the Black Mafia in St. Louis. And that Black Mafia told a lot of other people they had inside contacts in the NBA. Come meet my best friend in the NBA. And the best friend was Chauncey Billups. And the Las Vegas poker game, which is at the focal point of this investigation, involved 2 members of the Black Mafia in St. Louis who are closely allied with Chauncey Billups. And the investigation shows that Billups is the one that tipped information to the St. Louis syndicate that Portland is sitting all of its players are going to tank for a high pick, insinuating if you want to make prop bets on games, make them now on the specific game because we're sitting all of our guys. That's what got Billups in trouble. So that's where we are at this point in time. Billups has been suspended. He's been indicted. He's in big trouble, as are Terry Rozier, as are Damon Jones, etc. But now we find out that he had a close alliance with this Black Mafia leader in St. Louis who'd done 3 stretches in prison for drugs, for robbery, and for fixed gambling and dice games. Wow. So that's where we are with the Chauncey Billups situation. Lakers, boy, some great individual performances the first 10 days of the NBA season with no LeBron and with an ailing Luka Doncic now, he's got a quad injury. But how about Luka? Went off for 43 and 49 in his first 2 games. How about Austin Reeves? He went for 41 and 51 in back-to-back games for the Lakers. No LeBron, no Marcus Smart. He's got a quad problem. They've lost Gabe Vincent now for 4 weeks with an ankle injury. No Maxi Kleber, who can't get healthy, the backup center. He's got a core injury. And they're now saying it may be Thanksgiving week before LeBron James can come back. So the Lakers are relying on firepower to try to just outgun other people. Interesting story with the New York Knicks. Phil Jackson tomorrow is releasing another book about his life, his times in the NBA. He had released his first book when aftermath of coaching the Chicago Bulls. I think it's entitled 7 Rings. Pretty good read. Anyhow, in his tell-all book about becoming the president of the New York Knicks, one of the chapters has to do with his decision in a meeting with James Dolan, the controversial owner, in which he went to James Dolan and said, I have a busted relationship with Carmelo Anthony. One of us has to leave. It's either him or it's going to be me. Anthony, of course, come from the Denver Nuggets in a trade. And Dolan said, you guys can't coexist. I guess you can leave. So he let Phil Jackson go as president of the team because Jackson could not deal with Carmelo. 2.5 months later, James Dolan traded Carmelo Anthony away to Oklahoma City because he couldn't solve that problem either. So it's really interesting to talk about Phil Jackson's stay, another tell-all book. And the last one is the WNBA, and we've talked extensively about the collective bargaining agreement after the commissioner of the Women's League insulted Caitlin Clark and all the other star players that you ought to be on your knees because we're allowed you to make all this money. The WNBA players have been involved with the new negotiations with the union for a new collective bargaining agreement, and they want a big pay bump in salary. The players are of the opinion this league is successful because of us. It's not because of the owners. It's not because of you, the commissioners. It's because of us. We deserve to be taken care of. So the last offer that the owners just made about a week ago was a base salary of $200,000 for the rookies, a top salary of $800,000 for the elite players. And the union said, no, that's like putting the correct term. Let me read this correctly. Lipstick on a pig proposal. We're not taking that offer.
Okay.
This league is successful. Your selling franchise is all-time record. Your media contract is an all-time record high because of us. We want a fixed position revenue share, just like the NBA guys have. So the vitriol at the negotiating table, wow, it's really something. I don't know at this point whether this is going to lead to a shutdown of the WNBA after the last two spectacular seasons I've had since Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and all those stars got there. Lipstick on a pig proposal. We're not taking your offer. So all things NBA. John, you want to respond?
Yeah, that news about Chauncey Billups is really disappointing. I mean, that's heavy. Like you said, we all kind of thought of him as a man of very high character. So there's obviously something going on because we've talked about Terry Rozier. You know, he got caught up in his own problem with gambling, but he had a lot of financial problems.
Yes.
You know, he's probably robbing from Peter to pay Paul to cover all of his debts. I mean, have we heard anything about that with Billups?
No, we've not heard anything. Billups made a ton of money as a player, and he's a Hall of Fame person.
Yeah,
but
this is weird.
The fact that now they've actually pinpointed Billups as the one that delivered the information to the St. Louis Black Mafia leader about sitting players tanking games, insinuating, go place your bets on the specific Trailblazer game. That looks terrible. You know, it had been purported to me that Billups was an innocent bystander. He didn't know that the four guys at the table, two of them were underworld people that were rigging these games. But sure kind of looks different now.
Yeah, but that's not a hard one to sort of forecast. You know, the bottom teams at near the end of the season are all going to be kind of dogging it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you expect that. But you're right. It's illegal. It's a problem. And given that as a tip and gambling is a problem, that's a shame. The Lakers start. Yeah, it's been pretty cool. You've been seeing Austin Reeves getting all the big, you know, love from his teammates. That's fun one, seeing those highlights. And yeah, it's interesting how Phil Jackson is a man of character, right? I mean, he's been that way his whole life.
He marches to a different drum.
Oh, he totally does. Yeah. But, you know, it's interesting how, you know, there's some relationships that just will never work. You know, for him, it's him and Carmelo Anthony. I don't know enough about Carmelo Anthony to really be a judge on this, but sometimes you got to be man enough to realize that two people can't coexist in the same spot.
He was a great player, but he never won bleep.
Not really. No, and he kind of bounced around, you know, and everyone
in the Hall of Fame, though.
Yeah, everyone talked about him as one of the all-time greats, and I'm like, yeah, he was really good. He was like Syracuse, wasn't he?
Yes, for 1 year.
But then you kind of like, okay, he's good, but how good is he really? Is he like a Russell Westbrook, you know, that everyone thinks is great, but sort of bounces around and never wins anything?
Mm-hmm. Sir Charles Barkley.
Oh, no, Barkley was the man, even when he played. You know,
did he ever win anything?
No, he didn't win anything.
Oh, okay.
No, wait, no, he won with the Suns. Didn't he win that 1 year?
I don't think so.
Or no, they lost to the Bulls.
Yeah,
they did. But Barkley was different. You know, Barkley was the round mound of rebound, you know, and he was so entertaining to watch, you know, it's with Philly and with Phoenix and a little Houston.
Okay, that's all things NBA basketball. Feel free. What's your impression now of the Chauncey Billups crisis? Bad.
Yeah, very bad.
Okay, we go from that. Hockey Hotline is open for business.
Kings and Capitals, GM and coach stories.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, two really weird stories. It just broke. Rob Blake, who, of course, legendary player, Hall of Fame defenseman with the Kings, became their general manager, rebuilt the roster, got them into the playoffs every year. He detailed this week that he fired himself at the end of the season. He went into Luc Robitaille's office, Lucky is the president of the Kings, and said, I'm not coming back. I don't deserve to come back. We've been to the playoffs 4 straight years. We never got out of the first round because of the Edmonton Oilers kept beating us. I don't deserve to keep the job, and turned around and left. So he's had now half a season to sit, think, evaluate. And he said, I'd sure like to return to the National Hockey League. I don't know under what role, but I have a world of experience. He said, I'd even be interested in going back to just work at the league office. And he had worked at the league office before he became the Kings general manager. Really interesting guy. Very open, very honest. I thought he did a really great job. I never got the sense he enjoyed it. The pressure of being manager is just beats you down when you're not winning. There's stuff happening you can't control, injuries and goaltending problems and deals at players not reaching their peak. But Rob Blake has indicated he fired himself. He said Luc Robitaille wanted him to come back. He said, no, I can't come back. I didn't do the job. That's an intriguing story.
That never happens.
The other one is this: Washington Capitals. First words that came to my mind when I got wind of the story, the Me Too movement.
Oh,
remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not too long ago.
Okay. His name was Mitch Love, longtime minor league coach, very successful in the American Hockey League. Mitch Love went to Washington, became an assistant coach, started interviewing for head coaching jobs in the NHL this past offseason. Now we find out Mitch Love has been suspended for a year by the league just this week. Mitch Love was terminated by the Washington Capitals this week. Now we find out that Mitch Love was involved in horrible domestic abuse to his wife. His wife's family wrote letters with documentation to the NHL and to the 3 clubs that were interviewing Mitch Love for a head coaching job, and also sent the letters to the Washington Capitals.
Wow.
Saying this is who this guy is. And they signed their names to it. NHL did their own investigation and suspended Mitch Love. Washington terminated. All part of the courage of a family member to stand up and say, me too, this has happened to me at his hands. I've never heard that before. That's amazing.
Reminds me a little bit of the end of the Shawshank Redemption.
Yes.
You know, when Andy Dufresne wrote the letters and turned in the prison
the
warden. Yeah. You know, I think about Rob Blake, and you think about a guy like that, he's just, all he knows is hockey, you know, and he is a great player, great manager. And, you know, obviously he's a man of character. He knew when his time was done, and he stepped out before someone kicked him out.
Well, he held himself accountable.
Yeah.
Because Robitaille wanted him to stay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just unusual. It's very unusual, but I can see why he wants to sort of get back in the game, because it's all he knows. Mm-hmm. I mean, I often wonder about, it's a lot of these guys, they play ball or puck to a certain time of their life. And then what do they do afterwards? You know, some of them are no longer in the limelight, and that's trouble. That's difficult. I mean, some of them probably go and sell insurance or something. I mean, what is Rob Blake going to do with his life?
Yeah, but he made so much money. He's got 3 kids that play college hockey.
But you still got to do something with your life.
Yeah,
I mean, you still have to have a project that you're working on. You know, I mean,
look at you. You wound up with me. Jeez, what a disappointment you are.
Yeah. But, you know, it's like this. Yeah, this is a project, right? You know, that you and I are doing. You know, what is he going to do? And, you know, if he loves the game and he's got a lot of insight and a lot of value to offer, then, yeah, good on him. He's putting himself out there.
How about the Me Too story?
You know, I was just thinking the guy's last name was Love, and yet it was domestic battery, and that's just gruesome.
And a family member turned him in.
Yeah, and that takes a great deal of bravery.
Yes,
you know, to be able to turn in a family member. There's a lot of family members would never do that, but you know, I mean, you gotta call it out. I mean, it's even if it's a loved one, people can't get away with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Hockey hotline is open. Feel free. You want to join us? Fans forum chat box available. Last group of topics on the table falls under the headline hot headlines.
Yeah. The high-speed sports wire.
Let's just quickly talk about a huge weekend horse racing. Holy cow. There's so many great things that swirl around Del Mar, but the Breeders' Cup Classic takes it to the next level. And this Friday and Saturday, Breeders' Cup weekend, the Classic is the marquee event, $7 million in prize money. And I've been out to Del Mar. I've covered this. It is such a great event. And I was so amped at the field of 10 horses that are going to run in the Breeders' Cup Classic, which is the marquee event on Saturday afternoon. 10 horses. And now the top horse has been scratched. Big setback. A lot of disappointment. Sovereignty, Kentucky Derby winner, Belmont Stakes winner, and Travers Stakes winner out of Saratoga. Shipped back in here from Saratoga. Second time this year, the horse is shipped back in here to train and got sick. Horse developed a fever on Monday, treated it with medication. Fever went away. Woke up Wednesday morning. Fever came back. Ownership says we're not running Sovereignty. And that's a big setback because this is a great 3-year-old. Now, I mean, the field is spectacular. You've got journalism. The Preakness winner is going to be here. I was looking for the journalism sovereignty matchup. Fierceness, who won the Pacific Classic earlier this summer, back at Del Mar to run in that race. Sierra Leone, Forever Young, shipping back from Japan. I mean, this was a spectacular 10-horse field to challenge Sovereignty, and unfortunately, Sovereignty has gotten sick again. For some reason, that horse, when it travels out of Saratoga to other tracks, has problems, has physical problems. So that's too bad. It's going to be a great Saturday afternoon at the Breeders' Cup Classic, that race specifically, but it would have been greater if Sovereignty could have been there. Second race, NASCAR Championship, Phoenix 500 on Sunday. It's the final race. They're racing for $5 million. It's called the Final Four. The top 4 drivers in the points race are all the only ones eligible for the $5 million first prize. You think somebody's going to wind up putting somebody in the fence, going for $5 million, knowing how these guys go after it? Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, William Byron, Chase Briscoe. Hamlin is the lifetime career guy. He's got 60 career wins. Kyle Larson, I just think, is a great, great talent. Byron had to qualify. He won last weekend and snuck in as part of the Final Four, and Briscoe. So you like auto racing? Phoenix 500 come Sunday. Soccer. Gee, I wish I had good news. We talked a week ago about what just happened to Christian Pulisic, partially torn hamstring.
Oh, yeah.
Playing for AC Milan. Tim Weah, one of the back-end guys, veteran, Team USA, playing in France, torn thigh. They don't know how long he's going to be out. Gio Reyna, the young goal scorer, trying to find his way back, has had a history of injuries. He got hurt again in Germany. He's gone down with a knee injury. So suddenly Team USA, which looks like it's come together under Pochettino, now they got guys dinged up again. And I'm really concerned about the Pulisic hamstring tear. Last topic, SDFC, up 1-0 in the MLS playoff series opening round against Portland, goes to Portland to play on the weekend. Portland's getting better. Portland almost won that first game down here. Eric Dreyer, I should say Anders Dreyer, Chucky Lozano, Dos Santos, all those fullbacks. Don't let these guys back in this playoff series. Go in there and take care of business. Don't have this thing come back for a third and final game, because Portland's playing a lot better than Portland was playing earlier. So SDFC on Sunday, I think it's 6 or 6:30 Sunday night. See if they can win this first round, get a bye, automatically go to the second round. So, John, you got a lot to talk about here, starting with the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, it's kind of weird in a way that, we cover sports, but we're talking about animals, rather than humans, which is odd. We talk about the jockeys sometimes, but it's always about the horse. And it makes you think about how they transport them cross country. And they put them on an airplane, I'd assume. I mean, they're not going to drive them. And yeah, we get sick when we're on airplane flights sometimes, and it happens to horses. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's cool that there's a big race in Del Mar, which is great. So I'm sure it'll still be a good one. I'll definitely watch that NASCAR race in Phoenix. That sounds cool, especially since it's sort of like a, like kind of an end of year kind of thing, right?
Like winner take all.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, it's good.
These rednecks, they do get hot under the collar when they're racing for $5 million.
I remember I listened to you on the radio back in the 90s, and you were like, Talladega, it'll take your head off. So this is good. Yeah, so I'll watch that. Yeah, Team USA, that's rough, and all these injuries. We were all expecting this to be like Pulisic and all the young guys
coming together
were developing and maturing, and they were all going to crescendo here in 2026. And now we're kind of wondering.
Well, they're banged up. We got time till the January training period begins. These guys are hurt now.
But the matches are like in June and July, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then I'm all in on San Diego FC. I mean, it's going to be great. And they got to go up to Portland, take care of business. I wish it would have been a bigger margin. It was too uncomfortably close, in the second half.
No, Portland could have won that game.
They could have.
They hit the crossbar, had another open net, and they shot it over.
Yeah, and there are other times where Portland, would kind of like launch the ball like over the defense, to kind of stretch out San Diego FC, that made it kind of uncomfortable. I don't know. It just felt kind of odd. And also the structure of these, of the tournament is really weird. Like, this is a best of 3
first round.
Then
it becomes knockout.
Then it becomes knockout. Yeah. So I'm a little confused on that. And oh, by the way, I was watching the game last Saturday, and I was wondering, like, who in the heck is their sponsor for Portland? I think, was it Tillamook or something?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is that? I've heard that name before. It is. It's a dairy. And so, and if you look at their uniforms, they got like the pine trees on there, kind of the whole timber.
There with the axe.
Yeah. Paul Bunyan kind of thing going on. That's a cool look, so we need some San Diego sports success. We're hoping the San Diego FC is going to do it.
Don't let Portland back in this thing,
no,
please.
No.
Okay, that's it. Those are topics on the table. We do sports talk the way it should be done. We throw a lot of information at you. We express opinions. Mine are pretty much right on. Sometimes theirs are from left field, but then we open it up. It's called Fans Forum, your chance to respond, ask questions, make statements, take a shot. Tell us what you think. John, this podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. Home for windows and doors. Might not need it today, but you're going to need it if you're a homeowner. Think about it. DIXIELINE Lumber. Ready, set, go.
Ready, set, go. Our good friend Angel will kick it off for us. Hey, still believe the Dodgers will win the World Series. Yoshi pitching tomorrow, and hopefully Ohtani pitch Game 7. Plus, the pressure is on the Jays.
I don't think the Jays care about pressure. The Jays are just having fun. They look so loose, and they just go up and they swing those sticks. And that's what the Dodgers have to do. The Dodgers have to change their methodology at home plate. They need to start swinging at first pitches rather than getting in the hole 0-1. These guys are taking too many pitches. And I asked the question, maybe it's too late to make a change. No, it's not too late. You still got 2 more games. Move Ohtani down on the batting order. Shock everybody. Let Ohtani bat with guys on base in front of him. So it's not a lock. They're going crazy in Toronto. Do you see they had 53,000 at Skydome just to watch the game on the big screen?
I did see that. Yeah, that's good.
A lot of Molsons and Labatt's being sold there. I don't think it's a guarantee by any stretch. The Dodger players, aside from the lame excuse that Blake Snell said about unlucky, I totally disagree with that. But the Dodger players are of the opinion, we were down 2-1 last year this time against the Padres. Did we win? Where did we wind up? Well, okay. But this is Toronto. Toronto is, I guess they're playing with house money. They're just loosey-goosey and they are so aggressive. They first pitch swing on anything and everything. And it's not like there's chasing. And Guerrero's hitting .419. And he's not a bad ball hitter. There's some guys who swing off their shoe tops or swing at stuff in the next area code, and it winds up being a hit or a home run. These guys are really good at home plate. So it's going to be fun. I am shocked that I'm sitting here with the Dodgers down 3-2.
Yeah, totally. I thought this is a 4 or a 5 game series max. And I was saying, I hope Toronto makes it competitive, and a Game 7 would be wonderful drama. And we may get that. Yeah. So, Yoshinobu going, Yamamoto going in Game 6 is going to be great for the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. It sets them up nicely. But there were a couple of things, like there's other times the Dodgers are hitting the ball hard, but like right at guys. And it was in the game, I think it was last night's game, where one of the Dodgers hit like this shot to like a rug burner shot to Guerrero at first, and he blocked it. And then did you see how he kind of reached over, not with his glove hand, but with his open hand, and touched the bag? Yeah. And at first I was wondering if that was legal, if that would considered an out. Because usually don't you have to put, if you're going to use your hand, you got to use the ball hand.
No, it's just like I have the ball, my foot touches the bag, you're out.
So yeah, that's obviously the feet work. I was always questioning if that was still okay with the open hand. But yeah, this is just going to be a great series. The Blue Jays are a really interesting team with all these young guys.
Here's the thing that scares the hell out of me. If the Dodgers behind Yamamoto win Friday, they got to give the ball to Glasnow on Saturday. And to me, he's so streaky. He has good inning, blow-up inning.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he's walking guys. He's giving up home runs or hit.
Yeah, he can be that. He can be inconsistent. And then once you get beyond him, then you're rolling the dice of that bullpen. And
all hands on deck, including Ohtani.
Yeah. So this is turning into a really entertaining World Series that I didn't expect it to be.
No, I don't think anything can top Monday night. 6 hours, 39 minutes of 18-inning ball. It was cool.
That was brutal. I mean, it was brutal staying up that late at night. But I mean, now let me ask you this: do you the ghost runner thing? Okay, first of all, it's not a ghost runner; it's a real runner.
Right.
But do you think they should implement that in the World Series?
Well, they had it and they took it out.
Yeah, see, I like that rule. I mean, it makes the game instantly you're on the edge of your seat.
Exactly.
And
that's a good question. We ought to ask.
Yeah. I mean, because it's stupid to go 18 innings. And then, all the pitching was burned up. And they like you said, Dave Roberts said it became today real fast.
Yeah.
What was that quote? Did I get it right?
Yeah. It's I'm trying to think. I wrote it on my website. Dave Roberts in the post-game press conference was talking about the game. And he said, today is here already, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It was just brutal, so it's a fun series. So, I mean, are the Dodgers going to win it in 7? I don't know. I mean, if I'm betting money, I think Toronto's going to walk away from this. Oh, by the way, you ever notice they'll say, oh, the Toronto Blue Jays, they haven't won a World Series in 33 years?
Since the Joe Carter era.
Yeah. And I think to myself, well, that Joe Carter era wasn't that long ago. And oh, wait a minute.
1990s.
Yeah, that's the 30-something years ago. And I'm like, frick, I'm getting so old.
That's why you can't stay up at night.
You're right. It's way past my bedtime.
I had a tough experience because I sit there and I drink Mountain Dew.
Oh, geez.
So I'm half wired anyhow watching the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to sit and I'm exhausted. And then I'm writing all the stuff on my website to post it at freaking 1 a.m. in the morning. And I go to bed. I can't go to bed because I'm wired because I drank all this Mountain Dew and I was eating Skittles.
Oh my God.
You're like,
that's like caffeine and sugar just maxing out right there.
You're like, I didn't walk over here and knock on your door.
Well, I think I've asked you this question before, but have you ever heard of Mountain Dew Mouth?
No.
And it's an Appalachian thing where, some of the old boys out there, they drink a lot of Mountain Dew and they lose a lot of their teeth. And so it can be gnarly. I hope you don't drink that much.
No, I don't. Mountain Dew is my choice, though.
Okay,
that good one. Next one. Thank you.
Okay, let's go. Here's a new name. Hey, Real Men Wear Black, JWB. How about them Padres?
Yeah, they're like you and me, sitting at home watching it on TV. That must just gnaw at the Padres. And so the Padres, the left hand says, Real Men Wear Black. The left hand says, we've had a great 5 years of baseball here at Petco Park, destination point. A lot of excitement in the yard. The swag chains and the banners and the chants and all that. Right hand says, haven't been to World Series yet. And now the roster is going to change because all the injuries of the pitching staff. We're no longer the franchise that we were when we were really good. Am I right or am I right?
Yeah, but you're like an all or nothing guy. It's like if you haven't won the World Series or even gotten there, then everything is a failure. I mean, I'd imagine if you're an investor, it's probably working out pretty nicely for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a player getting some of those deals, it's working out pretty nicely for Manny Machado and everyone else. But it is frustrating as a fan base because we get so close and then we just can't close the deal.
Well, we got close one time.
No, but anytime you get into the dance, it's like AJ Smith, the Chargers GM, would say that just get into the dance. Anything can happen. And that's true in baseball too.
But you got to win it.
Well, you got to win it. Yeah. And it's just, if it's not one thing, it's another, like Rosanna Dana. But even the Dodgers bats will go cold, just like the Padres bats did. What are you going to do?
201 batting average. Dodgers, 201 batting average against the Blue Jays in the World Series. I could never, ever imagine that. And give the Jays credit. They beat up Snell twice and they beat Ohtani. Wow.
Yeah. Those guys, hella good. Did you like those powder blue uniforms they were wearing?
Throwbacks, yeah. They're okay.
Yeah, they're all right. They're nice. I like the Cardinals and the Phillies and the Royals a little better.
Okay, we move on.
Okay, let's keep on moving. Let's go to Douglas. Hey, Blue Jays don't have to cheat to win.
Well, I'm not sure the Dodgers are cheating. Andrew Friedman would not accept that quote from you. They're not cheating. They're just doing what they do in a big money market thing, moving money around. The union's the one that's agreed to deferred contracts. They did this way back, and they've never, ever changed it. The other owners have not wanted to change it. So I don't know that the Dodgers do anything illegal.
No. Well, the Astros were the cheaters.
Yes.
I mean, let's be clear.
Garbage can games.
Yeah. But you know what's funny is like, you know how they've been playing Alex Call a little bit, you know, in the 9-hole. And then one of the innings, it was like, due up next inning for the Dodgers, call Ohtani bets. That's fantastic. That's perfect.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I think there's still a lot of suspicion about, you know, did Ohtani bet?
No.
Come on.
You're reaching.
Well, I heard he sleeps 12 hours a day. Probably has no time to bet.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's regimented about what it does, but you could tell. I mean, having played even as a designated hitter and all the prep for that, and then going to the batting cages between his plate appearances and swinging and all that, he came back the next night as a starting pitcher. His first 2 innings, you could tell he was amped and on adrenaline. But by that 4th and 5th inning, you could see his mechanics, his leg work were going away. The ball was getting up, and then they started to hit him. So.
Yeah, you get tired, you know.
Hey, let me ask you a sidebar question. Since you have an opinion on everything media related.
Well, so do you.
Well, of course, it's my career. It's my industry.
Yeah.
I really like Joe Davis, and I'll tell you, I've dealt with so many good broadcasters and people from all walks of life. John Smoltz is maybe the greatest intellect broadcaster I've ever crossed paths with and listened to. I mean, he explains anything and everything in a common day language that you understand. You say, wow, I never thought of that. I think Smoltz is just a gem.
Yeah. I mean, he's good. I mean, we've talked about how good he is. He's kind of like the Tony Romo of baseball, you know, that he can break down the technical, you know, and the behind the curtain inside scoop and kind of fill you in. But, you know, Joe Davis, he's getting a lot of crap. I mean, people are thinking he's like, because he's the Dodgers announcer.
Right? He's one of them, yes.
Yeah. And so he's not as favorable to, you know, when the Blue Jays do something spectacular. I don't really have a problem with Joe Davis.
I don't think he's painted it Pantone 286 very often.
No, he's not the problem, you know. And then, you know, people, they get down on him for a lot of other reasons. And like, you know, people are down on Joe Buck. Everyone's got their announcers they love or they hate. But, you know, I'll tell you what, bless his soul, Vince Scully, man. If Vince Scully were alive, I would love to have him doing the play-by-play on television. I don't care if he's, you know, Dodger Blue Heaven. Because he'd do it right.
Yeah. Well, he'd do it his style, which was accepted everywhere. But Smoltz is just so intelligent.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he really is.
You know, you listen to Friday's game, just pay attention to what he says about any aspect, whether it's release point, or it's stride, or it's mental focus, or it's jet lag. I mean, he's of course, he's experienced it all those years in Detroit and with Atlanta. I mean, so he's speaking from having been there, but I just think he's just amazing.
Yeah, he really is. I mean, but there's still people that don't like him. Sometimes they're like, oh, come on, John, you know.
Well, maybe it's too deep for some people.
I think it is. I definitely think it's too deep for some
people.
Well,
I'll call and apologize on your behalf. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, let's go here to Mike. He goes, hey, Ruben Niebla isn't going anywhere. Apparently hasn't even interviewed for any of the jobs, and many have been filled now. Let's hire Nick Hundley.
Well, I was told one of the one of the discussion points that they've had twice with Albert Pujols is makeup of the coaching staff. And it's not as if Preller is trying to jam every guy that we have here onto that staff, but they want to retain Niebla. And I was told that Pujols wants to import Ramon Martinez, longtime major league pitcher with the Dodgers, who's been one of his confidants, wants to bring him in as pitching coach. And that might be a point that's delayed whatever decision has to be made. But there's no doubt that Pujols is iconic as a person. His baseball knowledge is through the roof. And I mean, you look at the great people that he's played for, led by Tony La Russa and obviously Schilt, those guys speak so highly of him. So I think John, at the onset of this program, when we start this 2 days ago, at the onset of this program, this podcast today said it's a win-win. He said, I don't think you go wrong with any of the three guys that they have. So I'll be intrigued to see how this ends up.
You know, Nick Hundley checks the box for backup catcher. You know, doesn't he? There's so many guys.
The last one we had here was pretty damn good. Name a Bochy.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of them, you know. So, you know, Ruben Niebla just strikes me as a really nice guy. He smiles a lot, and when he goes out and talks to his pitchers, he's not like harassing them or getting on their case. He's kind of lightening the mood as he delivers the message. But it makes you wonder, would that translate well to being a manager? I'm not sure. Some people say, well, the manager might, based on the calls the manager makes, maybe 5 games a regular season could be blamed or credited to the manager.
Except if the manager's comes from a pitching coach background, he has a lot more impact than just the outcome of 5 games, because he's dealing with those arms every minute of every day.
Well, then that makes you wonder if he's going to be distracted. It's kind of like when a head coach in football is calling the plays, and being the OC at the same time. So I don't know. Again, I'm good with all 3. My gut says Albert Pujols is the one that's going to command the respect that I think is necessary to get certain guys smacked around to get in line, and to understand their role more effectively. I think they're going to play for Pujols at a higher level than they would for Hundley or Niebla. But again, I have no disrespect for those other 2 guys. If they were the manager, I'd be totally fine with that.
Which leads into the final question at this point of the conversation. We've been through 5 managers in 11 years. Can you trust A.J. Preller's decision-making? Because once or twice already, we thought hired right guy didn't work out.
Well, everyone and their brother was tripping over themselves praising A.J. Preller when he signed Bob Melvin. Everybody. There was not zero bad to say about Bob Melvin, but it was like 99-1. And the whole thing went south. And then he got cooked in San Francisco too, which kind of proved what a lot of people thought, or a lot of people witnessed. So, I mean, it was a reach on Andy Green. It was definitely a reach on Jace Tingler.
Was it a mistake on Schilt?
No, the Schilt,
not knowing the background?
No, but still, I was good with the Schilt hire. I mean, it's a shame the way that whole thing turned out.
I agree.
But Schilt, I think.
Well, that's on Schilt.
Yeah, there's a whole lot going on there that it's hard to comment on. But when Schilt was in there managing, he had Niebla as his wingman. You kind of had confidence that they were in control. They had a strategy. They were observing what was happening now, and they were putting their chess pieces in the right spot.
I thought the baseball IQ in that dugout was phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. So the Schilt hiring, I don't blame him for that. It just, the whole thing kind of went sideways at the end. I don't know. Do you blame Preller for that? I'm not sure.
Okay, we move on. Thank you for joining us, Michael.
Okay, let's go here to Frenchie. French 75. He goes, Artie, bless his heart, should have made her sign a non-litigation clause when he gave her the money. I guess he's talking about the SKAGGS widow.
Oh, good question. But again, I mean, they're asking for $789 million. He's already given the SKAGGS family, I think, the final 2.5 years of Tyler Skaggs' contract just as a gift. I don't know how this come out. This is so complicated, but these lawyers are blowing holes in Kamala Kay's testimony yesterday, saying, well, you didn't say it this way in the deposition. Now you're saying it differently now. And, the whole airline trip thing where she accused the Angel players of passing back oxycodone and Percocet in the back of the plane, but yet she was 10 rows up and not allowed to go to the back of the plane. Well, how do you know what they're doing? There was an awful lot of reach there, I thought, in the testimony. So
yeah, well, there's a lot of funny business that happens behind the scenes that we're not privy to. I'm sure it's not like a Boy Scout meeting when they're on those flights. They're having a good old time on there, but it's just like the Skaggs family deserves compensation, I think, for the way this situation rolled out.
But they already got it.
And maybe do they deserve more? That's arguable. But this
under the guise of pain and suffering. That's why they're asking.
Yeah. And then that is just such a non-objective thing.
But then you have the line that's drawn, and Tyler Skaggs bears no responsibility for killing himself, being an addict, and refusing to admit that he's an addict.
Yeah, but see, everyone's, well, not everyone, but the Skaggs family's deflecting from that, right? They're trying to point the finger somewhere else, and there's poor old Artie Moreno trying to do good for the franchise and just keeps getting cursed with all his bad luck.
Okay, good. We'll follow this next week. As I said, I've tried to walk you through every aspect of the trial testimony as it's occurred. They meet 3 days a week, sometimes 4 days a week. So we'll just continue on Mondays and Thursdays to try to keep you updated. Frenchie, thank you for being with us. Go ahead.
Okay, let's go to our friend Callan. This afternoon, gents, saw In all the years you being around sports, can you ever recall a year where so many college football coaches got fired or bought out? The season has been insanity.
It's chaos. And it's because the NCAA rules have changed. It's because of the NIL. It's because of the transfer portal. It's not because boosters now have much more influence. So the pressure points on athletic directors is just through the roof, and the pressure points on coaches. Now, at the end of the day, they're going to get this under control. The NIL is changing. Transfer portal's already changed effective this coming January. And there's so much money in college football, and the influence now of boosters, and as I call them, the big cigars, is I think it's really damaged the sport. But at the end of the day, athletic directors, quit giving guys 10-year contracts. Quit giving guys mega buyouts if they fail, and you have to fire them. If it's a 5-year contract, that's different than having to pay off a 10-year contract. Don't give somebody a 10-year contract. And a guy doesn't want to work for you, fine. There's a zillion other coaches out there to go hire. I mean, that's if I were athletic director, that's what I would do. Do I want the best guy? Hell yes. But I'm not giving James Franklin 10 years or Brian Kelly 10 years any longer.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a Shohei Ohtani contract or a Bobby Bonilla contract or something like that. It just kind of makes you wonder what the mission of a university is. I mean, it's obviously a higher education institution. So how does football fit into the mission? And, you know, at one level, it's like, you know, Yale and Harvard, and we got a rivalry. But, you know, it's turned into this huge, big money thing.
It's big business.
It's a big business. And then you think, okay, well, you hope that the athletic department would maybe make an operating profit. But certainly you don't want it to have an operating deficit like at UCLA, but then maybe they think it's an investment for their brand to attract more students.
Exactly. Who
are going to pay out-of-state tuition of like 60 grand a year or whatever it is. And then attract all these students who, by the way, take out these crazy student loans that they end up being into trouble and they can't pay back. So there's like this whole cycle of an ecosystem chasing money.
It's so chaotic right now.
Yeah.
I think to the detriment of the whole thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, this is a crazy year.
Callum, good to have you on board. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, let's go to our other friend here, Casey. Hey, good afternoon, guys. Hacksaw, do my Rams make another move at the trade deadline?
Well, they just made the trade to get that cornerback. I think it's Roger McCreary, starter out of Tennessee. Offensive line, maybe. They're still having problems at right tackle. So maybe they do that. But they've got all their cap space. They've got resources. They got draft picks they could still use. But historically, they just want to get everybody healthy. I mean, they're pretty good. They're averaging like 376 yards per game. You know, the Rams should be 7-0. They had 2 games decided by botched kicks. They should be 7-0, which is absolutely amazing. So trade deadline is 1:00 p.m. on November 4th. So we'll see. There have been a flurry of minor trades so far. So we'll see if the Rams do something else aside from getting the cornerback out of Tennessee they just got.
Yeah, I've been seeing all these transactions going, and you're right. They're none of them are like big time names.
Yeah.
So you know, kind of filling holes, plugging holes. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, is there anybody that's announced to be on the trade block? I would imagine Kirk Cousins is available, right?
Yeah, but who wants that contract? And again, he had the chance to start a week ago because Michael Penix got hurt. And he was miserable. So, and we know who he is and what he's all about. I think that if you're looking for something, look for Pittsburgh to make a deal. They got to get a speed receiver who can catch the ball because their offense is pedestrian.
That happened to Metcalf.
Oh, he's there, but he's not deep down the field.
Okay.
So they need a burner. So Pittsburgh, and keep an eye on the Jets because the rumors are everywhere that they may just clean house. They've got a whole number of defensive players that haven't had good seasons but had good track records. So they just may say, hey, you want Quinnen Williams, my defensive tackle? Give me a number 1. I should call Jerry Jones, Dallas.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, so I'll be intrigued to see if some of those other names. So I'd say Pittsburgh and the Jets right off the top of my head. Pay attention to what they do.
Well, hopefully Aaron Glenn doesn't get blamed. I mean, he's trying to do a good job there.
Takes time. He walked into that situation. He didn't make it bad. He walked into it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And he didn't have a quarterback. With apologies to Justin Fields and Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, that is a mess. That guy deserves better.
Yeah. Okay, we move on.
Okay, let's get a couple of new names in here. Let's go to David. He goes, hey, what do you think of the Ducks having won 3 of 5 on their road trip?
Kids are playing really well. They suddenly got a bunch of health issues. They lost Ryan Strome. He's out for a chunk of time. Kreider's been sick with a viral infection. That's a bit of an issue there. But boy, Cutter Gauthier and Leo Carlson, 2 of the number ones from the last couple of years, those guys have just stormed out of the gate. So far, so good. And they'll get the injured and the ill guys back healthy pretty quickly. And I think it's a playoff team. I think it's right on the periphery of being a first-round team. Now, whether they go deep in the playoffs in April, that's a whole nother thing. But they built this thing, and it looks like every layer is covered, from snipers to goal scorers to checkers to veteran players versus the young kids. I like what I see there.
This is what is so awesome about this podcast, because you can get any sort of a question and you can answer the question, but you always have all the data. And like suddenly we're dealing with like the Ducks injury report and their depth chart. And and it's like you just are this computer that spits out all the sports content like on the spot.
Well, not all the time.
But a lot of it's incredible. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, except the wife says, well, you know all this stuff. How come you couldn't remember our date of our anniversary? Okay. Hockey hotline is always open. Join us again.
Okay, let's go here to Jeff. And he goes, hey, no ghost runner in the 10th, 12th, 14th, etc., but use the ghost runner in the 11th, 13th, and 15th.
That's too razzmatazz. Don't, I thought of that actually right at the start of the World Series. Geez, if we had, because John's correct. The minute we get to the 10th inning, you're right at the edge of the seat, because damn, there's a guy out at second base.
Yeah.
And are they going to move him along? Are they going to bunt him over? What are they going to do? But I don't know. That's a great, if I could ever get John to figure out how we could actually put a mini poll up there so you could actually do instant mini poll reaction to, would you like to see the ghost runner in the World Series? John, you got all this free time.
I know.
We've talked about that. Yeah. 2:00 in the morning. But come up with something.
You know, it just bugs me that they call it the ghost runner, because it's a real runner. Right. But I think a lot of these rule changes in baseball, I was reluctant at first, but now that they implement, I'm like, hey, right on. You know, the pitch clock and all that stuff is all good.
I guarantee you the Dodger game would not have gone 18 innings, 6 hours and 39 minutes, and me drinking 3 things of Mountain Dew if we had the ghost runner at second base.
You were probably up until 4 a.m, like buzzed.
I was.
Okay, let's go here to Robert. He goes, hey, any updates on UCLA to SoFi Stadium, Rose Bowl, Pasadena, suing UCLA at least till 2044?
Well, the contractor's there. I don't know what option they're going to use to try to get out of the written signed contract. This is a quality control thing. UCLA has had poor football for recent years. So the end of the day, they're drawing 32,000 announced, and it's not even that. And obviously, it's not close to campus. It's Pasadena, but it's Heritage's legacy, and you got a signed contract. I don't see how they can go to SoFi Stadium. I don't.
It'd be just so much closer to Westwood, though.
Yeah.
You know, it's too bad that, you know, just the contracts don't make it so. But I don't know, just something special about the Rose Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, SoFi, I haven't been there yet, but I was at the Cowboy Stadium, and I know the two of them are similar.
Yes.
I think SoFi was modeled after AT&T, and that's like glitz and glam.
Oh,
man.
it's a big event.
Yeah, big time, you know, which is a lot different than the Rose Bowl, which has all the, you know, the tradition, the granddaddy of them all.
Yeah,
and all
circa
that.
1958.
Yeah, it's a different thing. So I know I want UCLA football to be relevant, you know, and it'd be cool if they played at SoFi, but I don't know if it'd make that big of a difference in attendance, would it?
No. Again, is UCLA going to do this to the tradition of the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, like they did this to the Pac-12?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. UCLA, fire the athletic director. Okay, let's talk some Aztec hoops with Michael. He says, hey, it's Aztec basketball next week with their out-of-conference schedule. How many games will they win, in your opinion?
I think San Diego State has the ability, if they don't have any injuries and there's no setback with Magoon Guath, I think they can win 30 games this season. But we're talking about somebody who's hardly practiced at all. It's not, actually, has not been cleared to scrimmage yet. And we're right on the brink of the start of the season. But non-conference, Oregon, Arizona, Michigan, that's big boy basketball. That really is. So
Yeah, it is. I mean, of those, I mean, if they won 2 out of 3 of those big
that'd be
boys,
good.
that'd be really good.
But you want Magoon has to be part. If this is going to be a 30-win season before they get to March Madness, he's got to be there and he's got to be healthy and has to have no setbacks. Otherwise, that whole team kind of changes without the shot blocker and the three-point shooter that he is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Brian Dutcher says he's going to play in the NBA, and so and if you've seen the pictures of him, I mean, he's really put on some muscle mass. And he's focused on becoming a better player. I think it's great. And I think Miles Bird's going to be a lot more mature this year. And they're going to have to make some decisions because there's too many scholarship guys that want to play. So, is one of them going to redshirt? Maybe 2 of them? How's that going to work? There's a lot of questions that Dutcher's going to have to resolve.
Things change. Guys get hurt or guys decide to opt out and transfer, though State has not had a big history of guys defecting. And they all do get to play. And winning is a cure-all for a hell of a lot of things.
Yeah, and I think a lot of those transfers came here to win.
Yeah,
and they're content to be a role player in doing so. But Reese Waters appears to be fantastic.
Appears to be a different player right now too. But that's a maturity thing. I mean, his outside shot now looks much more dangerous than it did a year ago before he got hurt, or before the year he came from SC.
Now, did you see Ziegler wrote an article because they played USD last night, and the USD has been signing like professional basketball players from Eastern Europe.
Yeah, you can come from Europe, even though you may have played in their professional leagues. It's just, again, it's the rules that have changed here stateside. But I was stunned because Steve Lavin has obviously imported a whole new team because he had to. They were 6-27 last year. It's just terrible. But he got a 6'10" center from Poland, and he got a 6'6" power forward from Serbia. Anyhow, they both played against State. They played a combined 34 minutes. They had 1 basket.
Really?
And these are quote guys that came from a professional league in Europe. I thought these guys would come in here and play immediately. And at 34 minutes, 1 basket, 2 rebounds, 4 fouls. I went and looked specifically at the center and the forward. I said, wow.
Well, those guys were probably bench guys wherever they were. But from Steve Lavin's point of view, that's a great way to kind of jumpstart the team, because if you're just going to recruit freshmen or maybe get a transfer from a JC, you're not going to catapult, up to the top of the West Coast Conference, much less be competitive with San Diego State. But if they were able to, get some pro guys that they can plug in and score and get the rebounds, that could move them up the ladder pretty quick.
I was amazed. They did not play well at all. They shot like 30% from the floor.
Interesting. But, Aztec basketball is the greatest thing. I mean, when they play, it's usually twice a week. And for me, it's like undivided attention. I've got the live stats on my computer and my phone, and I'm checking, our shooting percentages throughout the whole game. I just completely nerd out, and it's fun.
You are right. You're a nerd.
Yeah, I definitely am. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk Aztecs as we go. Thanks for being with us.
Okay, here's a comment from John. He goes, hate to say it, but the NBA gambling scandal is only the tip of the iceberg, and that iceberg contains other sports. Gaming is advertised on every sporting event on TV. Some teams even have patches that advertise gambling on their uniforms, and there are sports books operating inside stadiums and arenas. Remember 40 years ago when Willie Mays got suspended from baseball just for acting as a greeter at a casino?
Yeah, well, the rules have changed. Everything has changed. The only way you're going to clear this is by taking players out of their environment and suspending them. Whether it's Chancey Billups for the rest of his life, or these idiot players who are dropping information so their posse could make some money to pay off some gambling debts, etc. That's the only way it's going to happen. And it's everywhere. You are correct, John. Tip of the iceberg. 2 years ago, the NFL suspended 9 players for a year, including a top young wide receiver, Calvin Ridley, who I think was in Jacksonville at that point in time. And he's since come back, but he's never been the same player after sitting out a whole year. So, and it's happened in the NHL. Minor league baseball has got problems with gambling, more in the minor leagues than in the major leagues. So that's the only way is you just terminate them, and the message then has to go to everybody else.
Yeah, and that's the right way to do it. But I think overall, this builds so much interest in sports. And it kind of helps monetize a lot of this to kind of fund the players and fund the fan experience and turn it into something. Because, how many people play just pick 'em football every Sunday? The office football pool, technically that's gambling too. It's just, it's everywhere. So I agree with John, though. I think it is the tip of the iceberg. There's so much we probably never hear about.
But you sure hope it really doesn't blow up into a scandal where we're starting to question the integrity of games, because all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of games that are in question, rather than an isolated Eastern Michigan game against the University of Tampa in college basketball. So we'll see where this FBI probe goes. Okay, we got a couple. How about social media here?
Okay, social media. Let's do some Aztec talk. And this is from Lee Cato. And, you were trying to find the right word for Sean Lewis.
Carnival Barker.
Well, yeah, but he says hype man.
Yeah.
That's the term you were looking for. He sent an Aztec swag box to John Gruden, who featured it on his video yesterday. The third down conversion rate is because the D is so good on first and second downs, causing third and long situations.
Oh, I would have never, ever imagined to be sitting here with a chance to be 7-1 and Boise State coming in. I thought they'd make progress. But at the end of the day, what's happened at State? Continuity. Offensive line has been together. Last year, they had 8 different combinations because of injuries and so many new pieces. This year, same 5 starters for all the games. So that's impressive. Defense, 10 starters returned. And for the most part, aside from an odd injury, all those guys are still on the field. Now, this is a once-in-a-lifetime season because all those kids who are playing defense will be gone at the end of this coming season. But he needs continuity, keep his people there, just grow this thing. So I'm impressed. I've always impressed with him. I was very depressed last year when they went 3-9 and the whole thing caved in because I expected a lot more offensively. We're starting to see that offense now, and the defense has been spectacular. At the end of the day, the burning question, are the fans going to show up for the Boise State game? That's what I want to know.
Well, show up for the Wyoming game too. I mean, it's big. I mean, our community's been wanting this sort of thing, and they're going to the Pac-12. I mean, let's get on board and support this program.
Okay.
But it's funny, hype man. You knew he was a hype man. You remember Flava Flav? You ever heard of that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he was the hype man, I think, for the Olympic water polo team one year, and I think he got a new gig for this upcoming Olympics.
Bobsled.
Yeah, the bobsled. Yeah, that's the one. So I mean, that's cool.
Everybody's got to have shtick.
Yeah, coming from someone like you. Okay, let's keep on trucking.
Yeah, but I'm not wearing a clock around my neck like he does.
Okay, yeah. You just got other distinctive features.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go here. This is funny. Okay, this is comments from our Evil Empire conversation. And he says, hey, one guy, Robin, says, I lost some actual respect for this guy wearing the Dodgers jersey. Crazy. And then JDS Third said, Hacksaw and Coach Quintero have had this weird relationship with the Dodgers. It's bizarre, but I always thought they were old school media that mingled with the enemy.
We're just doing our job. We're covering who we cover. Where does it say anywhere in the handbook that if you work in San Diego, you have to be pro San Diego every minute of every day? I've never seen that. Not on my contract. You just cover it. Try to be fair. Have a right to have opinions. I'm just out of my handbook. This is the way I operate.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're going to develop relationships,
sure,
with people, and some people you like, some you don't like, and some people you hang around with afterwards. And I know you and Quintero always talk about Dave Roberts, and he comes down to the Leucadian for your annual holiday party and everything. So I don't know, it's a bizarre, and it's just people are so Hatfield and McCoyish, it's like, I'm a Padre fan and how dare you wear this or say that, and they're the ones that are offended and they're clutching their pearls.
I concur with you about that.
Okay, let's keep on going. And some Dodger talk here. This is from Lawrence. He goes, I bet Dave Roberts would beg to differ about the Padre manager job being the best in all of baseball. And by the way, it's easy to sell out every home game with a capacity of 39,800. The Dodgers averaged 49,500 in 2025. Go blue.
Well, Dodgers are a success story. Size of the market's got something to do with it. Padres are a raging success story. Understanding this is a medium-sized market. They drew 3.43 million fans here at unbelievably inflated prices. So, no, they've been very successful here in terms of product on the field and here. Dodgers are tremendously successful because of legacy and tradition. It goes all the way back to 1958. So, no, it's great for baseball that we have this type of rivalry. Now, continuing making this product here better, more consistent, big issue because they spent a lot. The Dodger currency is their checking account. The Padre currency has been their farm system. And the fact that they've attached an awful lot of long-term contracts to older players that they're not going to be able to move, and they have no farm system left. So we've had a good 5 years here where the Dodgers have had a legacy of 26 World Series.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is a good gig to be the manager of the Dodgers. I mean, it didn't work out for Mattingly, though.
No, but a lot of pressure.
Yeah. I mean, so Roberts is, he's had his moments. People wanted to fire him a lot of times. But I think of the open jobs, I would have thought the Padres would be one of the more attractive ones. But it seems like other teams are claiming guys like Schumacher and everyone else getting hired.
The Padres job could be good, but you look at the roster and say, man, there's holes everywhere. And you know that Preller's traded everybody away. So is it the elite job? Well, yes, Petco Park is fabulous. 3.4 million is fabulous. 90 wins is fabulous. But that's with a different group of players. You're not going to have the same group of players. There's going to be a lot of work to be done, starting with the general managers' meetings going to December, the winter baseball meetings, because they got holes in a lot of places on their roster.
Well, it's like you always talk about how the NFL, the number one quarterback, always ends up going to a really crap team.
Yeah.
Well, the team that fired their manager, they got problems. Every team's got holes to fill. And so I think they're going to have, that's going to be a challenge no matter who gets that job. Hopefully it's Pujols. But I think sometimes you're like the old, not hole gang guys, that are like looking through the hole in the fence to watch the game. The price of all this has changed. I mean, prices in San Diego, are they horribly inflated? Now, I just think the reality of sports
is everywhere.
Changed. Yeah. I mean, how much are people paying to go to Dodger Stadium to see the World Series? I mean, We're talking 4, maybe 5 digits for a chair. I mean, that's a lot. So, and San Diego State's trying to have some market value there at Snapdragon. I just think the world has changed. And sometimes we get still stuck thinking we can get a scoop of ice cream at Thrifty for a nickel.
I was a kid growing up. Stamp was 2 cents, 5 cents. I worked at a gas station where the price of gas was 18 cents a gallon.
18?
Yeah, on Long Island. And they had gas wars on Long Island when I was a kid growing up, a teenager.
Was that in the early 70s?
Yeah. Or no, 60s.
60s. I remember gas being either 49 or 39 cents a gallon back when I was really little.
Mm-hmm.
But even today, I'll be like, sometimes I'll just be shocked at how expensive everything is. And then my daughter or my son will say, Dad, everything costs that much here all the time now. Everything's changed.
I agree.
Okay.
Okay, we move on.
I
don't want to talk economics with him.
Okay. Let's go here. I was talking about haters. Let's get this one in. Oh, this is from Typer. Dodger fan here. He goes, love how all these trolls have become haters. Call it the curse of Kershaw, Friar fans.
Well, Dodgers are in the World Series. The Padres are not. Let's just deal with the reality of the situation the way it is. We'll see if the Dodgers can climb back and win this thing. If not, hats off to the Jays, because they have really been a very unique story. And the Padres will have to rebuild, and the Dodgers got to answer questions about the makeup of what suddenly appears to be a bit of an aging roster. Going to be interesting.
Yeah, Ohtani's 31. I mean, he's going to be in the, I know, just real quick. He's 31. When his contract's up, he's going to be in his early 40s.
Right.
Kind of like you, Darvish, right? But no one ever says that the Dodgers have really long contracts.
No, but his contracts include deferrals to the year 2036.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Dodgers.
Yeah. We hope you have enjoyed this podcast. We have enjoyed exchanging gunfire with you. We're here Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30 every afternoon. Podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. John, enjoy the great sports weekend. We'll be back here Monday at 1:30.
Yeah, then we'll see who the World Series winner really is.
And we will be analyzing Game 6 and if there is a Game 7. Thank you for being with us on Hacksaw's Headlines.